Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is truly fantastic to have you with us again, ready to explore another topic that's, well, rapidly reshaping how we work and live. Today, we're plunging headfirst into the dynamic world of artificial intelligence. Specifically, we're focusing on how to move beyond just, tinkering with these powerful tools and actually leverage them for real, impactful work. And for this incredibly insightful journey, we have to extend a massive, well-deserved thank you to Dr. Simon Mahayevsky. He sent in this absolutely fantastic article that forms really the backbone of our discussion today. So thank you, Dr. Mahayevsky. The source material we're digging into today comes from Ethan Mollick. Now, he isn't just someone observing AI from a distance. He's actively running the generative AI lab at Wharton, constantly putting together practical guides on AI systems, and maybe most crucially, spending a significant amount of time watching how people actually use AI to get things done. In the real world, this isn't theoretical stuff. He's coming from a place of deep, practical, research-backed knowledge, seeing firsthand what works and, well, what doesn't.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our mission today is to cut through the often overwhelming complexity of using AI effectively right now. It's no longer just about chasing the single best AI model, like there's one magic bullet that solves everything. Mollick highlights a really crucial core shift here. It's really about choosing and mastering the best overall system for your specific needs. The challenge, though, as he points out, is that these systems are getting incredibly sophisticated. And with that sophistication comes layers of complexity. So we're here to help you navigate that. We're going to break down not just which AI tools to pick, but maybe even more importantly, how to use them effectively to get real work done, moving you far beyond casual use into, well, the realm of a genuine AI power user.
Yeah, it's interesting how Mollick starts, isn't it? Because for something that feels so vast and complex, he really simplifies that initial choice of an AI system quite dramatically. He basically says that for most people who want to use AI seriously, the decision is surprisingly straightforward. He narrows it down to just three main contenders. That's Claude from Anthropic, Google's Gemini, and OpenAI's ChatGPT. And that immediately reduces that sense of, decision paralysis that so many people face when they first look at AI. You don't need to try every single one. Pick one of these three and you're off to a strong start.
That immediately lifts a huge weight off, doesn't it? It feels like a big relief hearing you don't need to pore over dozens of options or spend weeks researching benchmarks. But like he says, that's just the easy part. But what are some of the underlying reasons these three have kind of emerged as the top contenders? What capabilities do they share that make them so powerful?
That's a great question, because it really gets to the heart of what a serious AI user needs, what that baseline looks like. And what's truly beneficial is that these top three systems, they share a common set of incredibly powerful practical features, meaning you're getting a pretty robust toolkit no matter which one you choose. First, and this is fundamental, you get access to both advanced powerful models and faster, more agile ones. This flexibility is absolutely key because you wouldn't use the same exact tool for every single task, right? Second, they all offer voice mode capabilities. Now, that might sound like a minor detail, but it can be transformative for hands-free, on-the-go interaction. Think about, brainstorming ideas while you're commuting or dictating notes during a walk. Then, crucially, they can process and understand both images and documents, so you're not limited to just text input. You can feed them complex visual data like charts, diagrams, even handwritten notes, and also text-heavy documents like PDFs, research papers, legal briefs. The AI will actually comprehend and analyze them.
Wow, okay.
They also include robust code execution functionality. This allows the AI to write, debug, even run code for you, which is just invaluable for developers or maybe data analysts. They all have good, reliable mobile applications too, making them accessible beyond your desktop. And finally, and this is really a game changer, we'll explore more later, they all possess the ability to perform what Mollick calls deep research. The only significant difference he really flags is that Claude currently lacks video creation capabilities, whereas Gemini and ChatGPT offer it.
That's a remarkably consistent and, robust set of features across the board. It sounds like you're getting a lot of foundational power no matter which of the big three you might lean towards. But of course, quality and capability, they often come with a price tag. What's the sort of financial outlay Mollick points to for unlocking this kind of power? Are we talking significant investment or is it more accessible?
Mollick is very, very clear on this, and it's a point he really emphasizes because it's a common pitfall for users. While some features of these systems are available for free, accessing the full suite of necessary powerful features, the ones you need for serious work, typically requires a $20 a month subscription. He doesn't mince words. He explicitly states the free versions are demos more than they are truly effective tools for serious work.
Right. Demos.
Yeah, and this is such a critical distinction because many users might try the free version, feel a bit underwhelmed, maybe dismiss AI altogether, not realizing they're only seeing a tiny fraction of its true potential. That investment, that $20, is really about gaining access to the most capable models and the features that deliver substantial professional value. It's the difference between, like, trying a sample and owning the full, powerful tool.
That clarifies so much for people who might be wondering why their free version isn't quite cutting it, or maybe why they're not seeing the transformative results others talk about. It's not them, it's the demo. So, armed with that knowledge, what about the other general-purpose AI systems out there? Mollick mentions a few, but why does he steer most serious users away from them, even if they have prominent names or unique features?
He does, yeah, and it's important to understand why he makes those distinctions. It's not arbitrary. For instance, Grok from Elon Musk's XAI, he highlights it as potentially interesting if you're a heavy X user, formerly Twitter, given its unique integration with real-time Twitter data. However, Mollick raises pretty significant concerns about its transparency. He notes the company has not been very transparent about how its AI operates. And for a professional user, this lack of transparency can be a major issue. It raises questions about data handling, the sources of information, maybe the underlying biases in its responses. If you're using AI for critical tasks, you need a degree of trust and understanding in how it operates, which Grok, currently doesn't fully offer.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about Copilot? That's everywhere now.
Right, Microsoft's Copilot. It's integrated directly into Windows and Microsoft 365, which obviously offers incredible convenience for many users already deep in that ecosystem. But the challenge here, according to Mollick, is that it can be difficult for users to control which models are being used and when. Imagine you're trying to generate a critical business report, right? And Copilot maybe switches between a powerful analytical model and a fast conversational one without really telling you.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem.
Yeah, it can lead to inconsistent performance or just a lack of clarity about the AI's capabilities at any given moment. That makes it less reliable for high-stakes tasks where you really want precise control and predictable output. It might be great for quick daily tasks, but maybe less so for those mission-critical projects.
Okay. And there was one more he mentioned. DeepSeek.
Yes, DeepSeek R1, a Chinese model. It's described as very capable and free to use, which, certainly sounds appealing on the surface. However, Mollick points out that it's missing a few features from the big three, which could be deal breakers for advanced users, and maybe more significantly, its long-term viability is uncertain.
Uncertain viability.
Well, it's not just about whether the company will stick around, but also about ongoing updates, robust community support, maybe even geopolitical factors that might affect its reliability or feature set for international users down the line. For sustained professional work, things like stability, continued development, and trustworthy support, they often outweigh the appeal of a free tool that might be potentially unreliable or disappear. So what does this all mean when you pull it together? Mollick's core recommendation is crystal clear. For most people looking to use AI seriously, commit to Gemini, Claude, or ChatGPT. That's the most reliable path forward. You really can't go wrong with any of them as your foundational tool.
Okay, so you picked your system. You've made the commitment. Maybe you've even sprung for that $20 a month, which we now understand is pretty essential, not just optional. But that's just the first layer, right, to truly become a power user. Now we get into what might be the real core of using AI effectively. Understanding the different AI models available within each system. This isn't just picking ChatGPT versus Gemini anymore. It's about picking the right internal tool on that platform for the specific task you have. It's a level of nuance, I guess, that separates the casual user from someone truly optimizing their workflow.
Exactly right. And Mollick gives us an excellent, really intuitive analogy here to help grasp this crucial concept. He says, think of it like choosing between a sports car and a pickup truck. Both are vehicles, obviously, but you'd use them for very different tasks.
Right.
This analogy perfectly illustrates that while all the models within a system are AIs, their best use cases vary dramatically. You wouldn't use a sleek sports car to haul lumber for a construction project, right?
Definitely not.
Nor would you take a heavy-duty pickup truck to a high-speed racetrack. The same logic, he argues, applies directly to AI models, using the wrong model for the wrong task. That's just going to lead to frustration and, frankly, pretty suboptimal results. Each of these systems, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, they typically offer at least 3 tiers of models, each designed for different purposes. First, you have what we can call the fast model. These are often the default you encounter when you first open the system. Think of models like Claude Sonnet, GPT-4o, or Gemini Flash. They're designed for, casual chat, quick brainstorming sessions, or simple rapid-fire questions. Mollick explains these are often the default, not just for user convenience, but mainly to save computing power on the provider's end. They're efficient, but not necessarily the most powerful for complex tasks.
Okay, the speedy, everyday option.
Exactly. Second, and this is where it gets absolutely crucial for serious work, you have the powerful model. These are the workhorses. These are the ones you're essentially paying the subscription for. We're talking about models like Claude Opus, OpenAI's powerful model. Mollick often refers to it as O3, which kind of broadly covers GPT-4 and its newer iterations, and Gemini 2.5 Pro. These models are absolutely essential for tasks like in-depth analysis, complex, nuanced writing, comprehensive research, and serious coding projects. And Mollick emphasizes this critical, often overlooked need to manually switch to these models. Usually there's a drop-down selector right in the interface.
Oh, you have to actively choose it.
You have to choose it. The default is almost always the faster, less capable one. So if you're not seeing the profound capabilities AI can offer, if you're getting frustrated by shallow responses, it's often because you're still interacting with that default fast model, not the one actually designed for deep work.
Got it. Fast, powerful. Is there a third?
And then, Mollick points out, there's sometimes an even higher tier, the ultra-powerful model. Think of something like a hypothetical O3 Pro, or maybe specialized iterations not always available to the general public. These are reserved for the absolute hardest problems you can throw at an AI, really pushing the boundaries of what current AI can manage. They are designed for incredibly deep, extensive processing, and as a result, they can take significant time to generate a response. Mollick notes it can be upwards of 20 minutes for some of these.
20 minutes.
Yeah, which just indicates the sheer depth of computation involved for those highly complex, multifaceted tasks. You wouldn't use these for a quick query, obviously, but for a truly foundational piece of analysis, they can be transformative.
So if you're not manually switching models, you're essentially, going back to the analogy, driving that pickup truck on a Formula One racetrack or trying to haul a ton of bricks with a sports car, and then wondering why it's not performing as expected or why the output feels flimsy. It's just a fundamental mismatch of tool to task.
That's a perfect way to visualize it, yeah. And Mollick shares his personal recommendations, too, for serious work. He relies on OpenAI's powerful model O3, Claude 4 Opus, and Gemini 2.5 Pro. He even mentions having specific favorites for highly specialized tasks outside of these, like using GPT 4.5 specifically for complex writing. That's an example of how nuanced model selection can become for very particular use cases, but for most users. Sticking with those main powerful models, he suggested O3 Opus Gemini 2.5 Pro that will cover the vast majority of needs with remarkable effectiveness.
Okay.
And it's absolutely vital, and it really bears repeating, to understand that critical distinction between the free and paid versions here. The most powerful models, the ones necessary for the serious work we're talking about, they are almost exclusively behind that $20 a month paywall. If you're using a free version, you simply won't see these advanced options available in that drop-down selector because they're just too computationally expensive to give away freely. This is precisely why free users might find AI's capabilities underwhelming. They're not even accessing the true power of the system. That $20 isn't just a fee, it's the key that unlocks the professional-grade toolkit.
And this truly reinforces that earlier point about the free versions being more like demos. An enticing glimpse maybe, but not the full robust experience. So you might think you're using ChatGPT, but if you're not paying, you're not using the powerful analytical ChatGPT that Mollick is talking about for serious work. It really sounds like this simple act of consciously switching models is a massive foundational leap from casual use to becoming a true power user. It's like the first real step in optimization.
Absolutely, it's fundamental. Now, moving on from models, it's imperative we address a really significant concern for many users, especially when they start integrating AI into their professional lives: data privacy. When you're feeding an AI system sensitive information, proprietary data, personal details, you naturally want to know, well, what happens to that data? Is it being used to train future models? Is it truly confidential?
Yeah, that's a huge one for a lot of people.
It is. And the source material provides a clear differentiation between the systems regarding data training, which is incredibly helpful. Claude, from Anthropic, explicitly states that it does not train future AI models on your data. Full stop. This offers a high degree of privacy assurance for users, particularly those dealing with sensitive client info, medical records, confidential business strategies, things like that. It's a very strong selling point for industries with strict compliance needs.
Okay, so Claude is a definite no on training. What about the others?
Right. On the other hand, Gemini and ChatGPT may train on your data. This is a crucial distinction, especially if you are not using a specific corporate or educational version, which often come with different data agreements. For individual users, this means that the conversations, documents, queries you submit could potentially be used to improve the AI's general knowledge or performance for future users. Now, this doesn't mean your personal info will be widely distributed, but it does mean it could become part of the enormous data set the AI learns from. This distinction is really crucial for individuals or small businesses handling highly confidential information. It requires a conscious choice about your comfort level.
So it's not a blanket, yes, they all train on your data, but it's definitely not a blanket no either. It requires a bit of user diligence then. What actionable advice does Mollick offer for managing this, particularly for those of us using the consumer versions?
He offers very practical advice, thankfully. For ChatGPT, the process is quite straightforward. You can easily turn off data training features right within your settings, and you don't lose any functionality by doing so.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it means you can continue using the powerful models and all the advanced features without that concern that your prompts or conversations will be used to improve future AI versions. It's just a simple toggle, but it provides significant peace of mind. For Gemini, you can also turn off data training, but Mollick notes it might come at the cost of some functionality.
Like what?
The article doesn't specify exactly which functionality, unfortunately, so it's a bit of a trade-off users need to weigh up. It could be something minor, or it could maybe impact personalization features, so it's something to just monitor if you turn it off.
Okay. And what about personalization itself, like the AI remembering things about you?
Right. Mollick also touches on ChatGPT's memory or personalization option. This feature allows the AI to remember scattered details about you across different conversations. For example, it might remember your preferred writing style, your job title, specific interests you've mentioned, maybe even your name, making future interactions feel more personalized and efficient because you don't have to keep restating context.
That sounds useful.
It does, but Mollick's current assessment is that this memory system is still too erratic at this point. He suggests it might not always remember details correctly or consistently or apply them appropriately, which could lead to some frustrating misinterpretations. He does acknowledge, though, that individual experiences might vary, so it's certainly something you could experiment with yourself. But for highly sensitive information, the safest bet is always to either turn off training features or simply avoid inputting that information into the system in the first place.
That's incredibly useful to know. It really means you have agency over your data, even with the big players, which is a major concern for so many. So if you're listening, definitely take a moment. Consider your own comfort level with data use, especially for work-related or sensitive info, and then proactively check your settings in your chosen AI system. You can make a big difference in how you interact with the tool and the confidence you have using it. Okay, now let's pivot a bit. We've covered the foundations, systems, models, privacy. Let's get into the features that truly differentiate a power user from someone just casually experimenting. The killer features, as Mollick calls them, that unlock significant value.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating here is how Mollick identifies deep research as perhaps the key AI feature for most people, even if they don't know it yet.
Right.
This isn't just about asking the AI a quick question and getting back like a Wikipedia summary. It's about generating comprehensive, structured reports that synthesize information from various sources across the web. The output from these tools, when you leverage them correctly, is described as producing very high-quality reports that often impress information professionals. Think lawyers, accountants, consultants, market researchers, people who spend their lives compiling and analyzing data.
Wow.
That immediately tells you this isn't just a surface-level summary. It's something that can genuinely contribute to professional-grade work, potentially saving hours and hours of manual research.
That's a huge claim, impressing seasoned professionals who are literally paid to do this kind of work. So this isn't just faster searching, it's about synthesis and presenting information in a new way. Can you give us some concrete examples of how this deep research feature actually plays out in practical, everyday scenarios? How does it change things?
It's transformative because it moves beyond simple information retrieval to complex reasoning and structured output. The article provides some excellent, really relatable use cases. Imagine you need a gift guide for a notoriously difficult person. The example prompt given is, what do I buy for a picky 11-year-old who has read all of Harry Potter, is interested in science museums, and loves chess? Give me options, including where to buy at the best prices.
Okay, that's specific.
Very specific. It's not just a simple query. It's a multifaceted request for specific, actionable information, creative ideas, where purchase, even comparative pricing. A human researcher might spend hours compiling that. The AI can potentially do it in minutes. Another fantastic example is for travel guides. Instead of sifting through dozens of blogs and tourist sites, you could prompt something like, I am going to Wisconsin on vacation and want to visit unique sites, especially focusing on cheese. Produce a guide for me. Again, highly specific, tailored to a unique interest, and designed to produce a comprehensive itinerary, maybe with potential destinations, activities, recommended local spots, all based on current web source data. It's not just a list, it's trying to create a personalized, curated experience.
Cheese tour of Wisconsin, I like it. What about more serious applications?
And then something much more serious, second opinions. Mollick notes that in fields like law and medicine, these systems can provide valuable secondary insights for professionals. Now, crucially, he underscores the vital caveat. It should go without saying that you should trust your doctor-lawyer above AI, always.
Absolutely critical.
Yes. This is a critical reminder that AI augments, it doesn't replace human expertise, especially in high-stakes fields. However, he points out that research continues to show surprisingly low hallucination rates in diagnosis for advanced AI systems. This makes them genuinely useful for maybe initial research, cross-referencing information, or generating secondary insights that a human expert can then review, validate, and incorporate into their own judgment. It's about making the professional better, faster, more comprehensive, not replacing them.
So it really is about amplifying human capability, not supplanting it, like having an incredibly diligent, rapid-fire research assistant right there. How do you even activate this deep research mode, and how do we ensure the accuracy given the whole hallucination issue?
Good questions. You typically activate it by explicitly turning on the web search option within Claude and OpenAI's powerful models, O3 or the ChatGPT system. This gets them working as mini deep research tools, performing live web research as part of their response generation. So it's not just pulling from their potentially outdated training data, it's actively browsing the current internet.
Okay.
Google's Gemini, when it creates a report, also offers these fun additional options, like turning the report into an infographic, a quiz, or even a podcast script, which just showcases the versatility of the output formats beyond plain text. Now, regarding accuracy, while these reports are not error-free, no system is perfect. Mollick states they are far more accurate than just asking the AI for something without web access. And significantly, the citations they provide tend to actually be correct.
That's encouraging.
It is. So while it's always wise to verify critical information yourself, the quality is remarkably high, especially when compared to just simple AI queries that don't access the live web.
That's truly incredible. I mean, just think about the time saved. If you're a professional who regularly needs to compile information or research new topics from scratch, it's not just a time saver, it's a whole new way of synthesizing information. I definitely encourage listeners, try deep research in your own area of expertise. Challenge it with a complex problem you've been wrestling with. See what it can do for you. Now let's move to another truly innovative and frankly genuinely futuristic feature, voice mode and multimodal capability. This is where AI starts to feel less like a tool and more like an interactive partner.
Indeed. When it comes to just voice mode, the best implementations right now are found in the Gemini app and ChatGPT's app and website. Claude's voice mode, by Mollick's assessment, is noted as being a bit weaker by comparison. The initial appeal of voice mode is undeniable, right? It allows for natural, conversational interaction, freeing up your hands and eyes. You can simply talk to the app while you're multitasking, maybe driving, taking a walk, doing chores, and make real progress. Brainstorming ideas, dictating notes, or just thinking through problems aloud with a responsive, intelligent partner. It's incredibly convenient for that kind of hands-free productivity. However, there's a crucial caution here, particularly when you're seeking factual information. These voice modes are often optimized for rapid chat, meaning they frequently default back to those faster, less powerful models we discussed.
All right.
This makes them more likely to hallucinate if you are asking factual questions, because they aren't necessarily doing a live web search in that chatty mode. Mollick gives a very specific and insightful example for ChatGPT users. He says, unless you hear the clicking sound, it isn't actually searching the web. That little clicking sound apparently indicates it's actively performing a web search for you.
That's a very specific tip.
It is. It highlights the importance of understanding the AI's real-time operational status, even in voice mode. If you're not hearing that cue for factual queries, you might be getting information pulled only from its pre-trained data, which could be outdated or less specific.
So brilliant for conversation and brainstorming, but maybe exercise caution for critical factual recall unless you know it's actively searching. But here's where it gets really interesting, because voice mode's killer feature isn't just the natural conversation, is it? It's the multimodal part, the ability to literally see and interact with your physical environment. That's where it transforms.
Absolutely. While the voice interaction is convenient, the true killer feature, as Mollick puts it, is its ability to share your screen, or even more astonishingly, your live camera feed with the AI. This is a total game changer for real-world problem solving. Imagine this. You point your phone camera at a broken appliance you're trying to fix, or a complex math problem on a whiteboard, a recipe you're trying to follow, maybe even a sign in a foreign language you can't read. The AI literally sees what you see and responds in real time with relevant contextual information or advice. This isn't just a gimmick. It's a genuinely practical tool that bridges the digital and physical worlds in a new way.
Wow.
Mollick shares some compelling personal anecdotes that really illustrate this vividly. He's used it to identify plants on hikes just by pointing his phone camera at them. He's received real-time instructions to solve a confusing problem on his computer screen by sharing his screen. And he even got cooking tips while his hands were covered in flour, a perfect illustration of truly hands-free contextual assistance when you physically can't touch your device.
Cooking tips with floury hands. That's brilliant.
Right. This multimodal capability, where the AI can process visual input and provide immediate relevant feedback, feels genuinely futuristic. Yet, as Mollick kind of laments, most people just use voice mode like Siri, for quick commands or simple questions. They're completely missing the very best part of what these systems can do visually. It's like having a knowledgeable expert standing right there beside you, looking over your shoulder and offering advice based on what you're both seeing.
That's such a powerful point. The idea that the AI can literally see what you're seeing and provide real-time assistance, it just opens up a whole new world of problem solving and accessibility. It's like having that expert standing next to you looking at the same thing, making it incredibly intuitive. I mean, listener, challenge yourself. Think about how you could use this visual input feature in your daily life or work. What specific problems could you solve just by pointing your phone at them? Could you get real-time feedback on a design? Troubleshoot a physical setup? Understand complex instructions without touching a keyboard. It's truly mind-blowing when you consider the implications.
And building on that visual capability, let's talk about image and video creation. This is another transformative feature that shifts AI from purely analytical to genuine. Claude currently lacks this particular feature, remember. Mollick notes that ChatGPT offers the most controllable image creation tool. That implies a greater degree of precision and customization in the generated output, allowing you to fine-tune results more effectively. Gemini, on the other hand, uses two different image generation tools. Imagen, which is described as a very good traditional image generation system, focused purely on visual output, and then a separate multimodal image generation system that leverages the AI's broader understanding of context to create visuals. While both are highly capable, generally ChatGPT is cited as being a bit stronger in overall image creation control.
Okay, so ChatGPT for fine-tuned images. Where does Gemini shine?
Where Gemini truly shines, though, according to Mollick, is in video creation. Its VO3 system is described as very impressive, offering remarkably high-quality, short video clips generated directly from text prompts. What's more, you typically get several free uses a day as part of your subscription, though Mollick points out that you need to hit the video button in the interface to access it specifically. It's not always the default output.
Another specific action needed.
Yeah, it highlights again that you often need to be explicit about the type of output you want beyond just text or simple images. You have to ask for the video. And just to give you a real sense of the creative possibilities here and the AI's ability to handle really whimsical, detailed requests, here's a fun example prompt provided in the source article. Make me a photo of an otter holding a sign saying, "Otters are cool, but also accomplished pilots." The otter should also be holding a tiny silver 747 with gold detailing.
An otter holding a tiny silver 747. That's just fantastic. I love it.
Isn't it great? This level of specific imaginative detail just demonstrates the incredible ability of these AIs to translate complex, even absurd, imaginative prompts into visual reality, often within seconds. Imagine the implications for marketing, content creation, presentations, or even just personal projects where visual representation is key.
The sheer capability to generate such specific, imaginative visuals directly from a simple conversation is truly remarkable. And it's not just about images and videos either, is it? Mollick mentions a whole range of other diverse outputs that go far beyond simple text.
Indeed. Beyond images and videos, all three systems, Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, are capable of producing a wide variety of other outputs that can be incredibly useful professionally. This ranges from formal documents like proposals or reports formatted correctly to intricate statistical analyses if you feed them data, interactive tools that might function as mini applications, complex simulations for planning or training scenarios, and even simple games or puzzles. The versatility is immense. You're absolutely not limited to just text responses or even simple image generation.
How do you get those more complex outputs, like the analysis or tools?
Right. To get Gemini or ChatGPT to reliably produce these more complex, separate outputs, particularly those that require code execution or non-textual files, you often need to select what Mollick calls the canvas option or a similar code interpreter mode within their interfaces. Think of it like switching to a specialized workspace where the AI can actually build or run things beyond just typing text. This is where it can truly generate, say, a working Python script, analyze a dataset you upload, or produce a diagram file.
Okay, a special mode for building things.
Exactly. Claude, interestingly, is described as being good at creating these sorts of outputs on its own, which suggests maybe a more seamless integration for these advanced functions within its standard chat interface without needing a separate mode as often. But this raises an important question for you, the user. Given this incredible breadth of capability, what can't these systems make? The simple answer, according to Mollick, is basically, just ask. You may be surprised what the AI systems can make. The possibilities are continually expanding, and the best way to discover them is simply to experiment by asking the AI to produce what you need. Don't assume it can't do something.
Right. Okay, so now that you've picked your system, you've chosen the right model for the job, you understand the privacy stuff, and you're aware of these incredible advanced features like deep research and multimodal input and diverse outputs, now we need to talk about how you actually talk to the AI. This is what most people call prompting, and there's this common misconception, isn't there, that it's inherently difficult, that you need to be some sort of prompt engineer wizard using arcane spells. But Mollick seems to reassure us that the newer models have simplified it quite a bit. It's more accessible now.
That's absolutely right, and it's a massive relief for many, I think. Mollick explicitly states that it used to be that the details of your prompts mattered a lot, but the most recent AI models I suggested can often figure out what you want without the need for complex prompts. This is a really significant shift from earlier AI iterations we might have used. Many of the intricate tips and tricks you might see online for prompting, which were often developed for older or less sophisticated models, are simply no longer as important for most people when you're using these cutting-edge systems like Opus, O3, or Gemini Pro.
So less magic words needed now.
Pretty much. He even cites research from the Wharton Generative AI Lab. They did scientific examinations of prompting techniques and found that being polite to AI doesn't seem to make a big difference in output quality overall.
So no need for please and thank you.
Apparently not for performance. So all those pleasantries you might feel compelled to add. Not strictly necessary for getting a better result. The core advice here is really to approach the AI conversationally rather than getting too worried about saying exactly the right thing. It's more about natural interaction, like talking to a very intelligent, highly capable, but perhaps slightly literal colleague. It takes a lot of the pressure off needing the perfect prompt.
That's a huge relief. No more agonizing over every single word, fearing the AI won't understand your intent. So if there's no rigid art to prompting for the average user, what are the essential principles Mollick says we should keep in mind? How do we consistently get the best results and turn that conversational approach into powerful output?
Well, while he acknowledges that saying there is no art to prompting for the casual user isn't entirely true, especially if you're building complex, highly structured prompts maybe for other people to use for your own personal daily use, there are a few key, straightforward principles. First, and this is absolutely critical, give the AI context to work with. You have to remember, most AI models by default only know basic user information and whatever is in the current chat window. They don't inherently remember or learn about you beyond that specific interaction unless you manually enable that memory feature, which, as we discussed, Mollick finds a bit erratic right now.
Right, context is king.
Exactly. So you need to provide the AI with explicit context for the task at hand. This means using the file upload option to give it relevant files, documents, images, PowerPoint, spreadsheets. Or you can simply give it an introductory paragraph explaining who you are, what your role is, or the details of the project you're working on. For example, if you want it to act as a marketing expert for your company, tell it that up front. Give it details about your company, your product, your audience. Now, while some AIs like ChatGPT and Claude can access your files and email, and Gemini can access your Gmail if you grant permission, Mollick personally prefers to give the context manually.
Why manually?
It just offers more control, more clarity. It ensures the AI is working with precisely the information you intend for that specific task, rather than potentially pulling in irrelevant stuff or making assumptions.
Okay, provide context. What's next?
Second, be really clear about what you want. Don't be vague. Vagueness leads to generic output. Instead of saying something broad like, write me a marketing email, which will just get you something bland, go with something precise like, I'm launching a B2B SaaS product for small law firms. Write a cold outreach email that addresses their specific pain points around document management, emphasizing efficiency and security. Here are the key details of the product. And then you pasting all the relevant product details, and here's my target audience profile. Describe your target law firm.
Much more specific.
Way more specific. Or if you're unsure about what information the AI actually needs from you to do a good job, you can even ask the AI to prompt you. Ask it, what questions do you have for me to help you write the best email? This ensures the AI understands the nuances of your request rather than just guessing.
Okay, clarity. Makes sense. Principle number 3.
Third, give it step-by-step directions. This is often called chain of thought prompting. Instead of just asking for the final answer directly, break the task down into logical, sequential steps and ask the AI to follow them. For example, first, brainstorm 5 potential headlines for this email. Second, based on my feedback, choose the best one. Third, write the full email body using that headline and focusing on these 3 key benefits. Now, interestingly, Mollick's research found that this specific approach no longer improves answer quality as much as it used to for the final output compared to older models. The new models are better at figuring things out.
Oh, so is it still useful?
Yes, definitely. Even if it doesn't dramatically boost the final quality anymore, it still has significant value because it can make it easier to figure out why the AI came up with a particular answer. It gives you a trace of its reasoning process, which can be invaluable for debugging, understanding its approach, or identifying where a mistake might have occurred along the way.
Ah, I see. Like showing its work.
Kind of, yeah. Fourth, ask for a lot of things. This is a truly liberating principle when you're working with AI, I think. Mollick emphasizes that the AI doesn't get tired or resentful. Unlike a human assistant who might understandably sigh if you ask for 50 versions of something, you can absolutely ask the AI for 50 ideas instead of 10 or 30 different options to improve a single sentence.
Don't hold back.
Exactly. This isn't about expecting perfection on the first try. It's about generating volume and variety quickly. Once you have a whole plethora of options, you can then push the AI to expand on the things you like, iterating and refining until you get exactly what you need. It allows for much broader exploration and refinement of ideas than you could ever realistically get from a human in the same time frame.
Okay, as for volume. And the last principle.
And finally, use branching to explore alternatives. This is a really powerful feature that's kind of unique to conversational AI interfaces. Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini all allow you to go back and edit your previous prompts after you've received an answer. When you do this, it typically creates a new branch of the conversation, diverging from the original path. You can then usually move between these different branches using little arrows or a similar interface element that appears after you've edited a response. Mollick describes this as a good way to learn how your prompts impact the conversation because it allows you to directly compare different outcomes that resulted from slightly varied prompts, all without losing your original thought process. It's like having a parallel universe for your conversation, letting you explore multiple creative or analytical paths simultaneously from the same starting point.
That's cool, like A/B testing your prompts on the fly.
Exactly like that.
These really are fundamental shifts in how you interact. It's not just typing a command and hoping for the best. It's about providing rich context, being super clear, breaking down tasks, demanding volume, and then iteratively exploring different paths. These simple shifts in interaction sound like they can dramatically improve results and truly take you from a casual dabbler to someone really leveraging the AI's power. But even with all these advanced tools and techniques, even with the most sophisticated models, there are still common pitfalls, aren't there? Areas where users frequently run into trouble or maybe misunderstand AI's capabilities?
Yes, absolutely. Even with the best models and the best prompting techniques, there are common areas where users can stumble or maybe develop unrealistic expectations. First and foremost, we have to talk about hallucinations. While Mollick does state that hallucinations are far less of a concern than they used to be, AI has improved significantly in factual accuracy. They are still a reality. They haven't disappeared. AI will make errors. It will provide confident answers where it is wrong, sometimes fabricating facts, figures, or even citations out of thin air. They can also hallucinate about their own capabilities or actions, claiming to have done something complex they haven't actually accomplished, which can be particularly misleading if you take it at face value.
Right, the confident wrongness.
Exactly. The mitigation here is crucial. Answers are more likely to be right when they come from the bigger, slower models and if the AI did web searches. This ties directly back to our earlier discussion about consciously selecting the powerful models and enabling features like deep research or web access. Mollick's key advice for navigating this inherent risk is fundamental and maybe the most important takeaway regarding accuracy. The risk of hallucination is why I always recommend using AI for topics you understand until you have a sense for their capabilities and issues.
Okay, so start where you know the territory.
Precisely. If you're working on something entirely new to you or you lack the background knowledge to verify the information yourself, the risk of misinterpreting a plausible-sounding hallucination as solid fact is much, much higher. It's about being a knowledgeable editor of the AI's output, not just an unquestioning consumer, especially early on.
So essentially, start in areas where you can act as that knowledgeable editor or fact checker, rather than relying on the AI as the sole source of truth right from day one. That makes a lot of sense for building up trust and understanding its limits. What other pitfalls should we be acutely aware of? Maybe ones that aren't quite so obvious.
Another important point Mollick makes is that AI is not magic. While the best AIs can perform at the level of a very smart person on some tasks, he reminds us that current models cannot provide miraculous insights beyond human understanding. This is a really critical reality check to curb unrealistic expectations. If the AI seems to have done something truly impossible, or delivered an insight that feels like it came out of nowhere, like from a crystal ball, Mollick cautions it's probably not actually doing that thing but pretending it did, or perhaps just synthesizing existing information in a very clever, unexpected way.
So it's pattern matching, not true invention.
It's incredibly advanced pattern matching and information synthesis, yes, but it's not sentient, it's not an oracle, and it's not a true innovator in the human sense. It draws connections and generates text based on the vast amounts of data it was trained on. It doesn't spontaneously create truly novel concepts beyond that training data. Similarly, be cautious with personal issues. AI can seem incredibly insightful when asked about personal issues, offering advice on relationships, career choices, maybe mental well-being. But Mollick warns you should always take these insights with a grain of salt. AI provides generalized insights based on patterns in huge data sets. It doesn't understand your unique emotional landscape, your specific life circumstances, or the deep nuances of human relationships in a truly empathetic or human way. It's an algorithm processing text. It's not a therapist or a life coach who knows you.
Good reminder. What about how we interact? Any pitfalls there?
Yes. A common interaction pitfall, which we kind of touched on with prompting, is failing to engage in a proper two-way conversation. Many users, especially those coming from a search engine mindset, treat AI like a simple query box. Ask a question, get an answer, then move on. Ask, receive, done. But effective AI interaction is far more dynamic. It's iterative. Mollick stresses you want to engage the AI in a back-and-forth interaction. Don't just ask for a response. Push the AI and question it. This iterative dialogue, asking follow-up questions, challenging its assumptions, refining your prompts based on its output, asking it to elaborate on certain points, that's where the real value often emerges. It allows you to guide the AI, refine outputs, challenge its reasoning, and explore deeper avenues of thought together.
Less like a search, more like a discussion.
Exactly. And finally, when it comes to checking for errors, there's a specific nuance to understand. The AI doesn't know why it did something, so asking it to explain its logic will not get you anywhere. It operates based on complex statistical probabilities and learned patterns, not conscious reasoning or a human-like understanding of cause and effect. It literally can't tell you its thought process in the way a human colleague could.
So asking why did you say that is pointless.
Pretty much, yeah. It might confabulate an explanation, but it won't be the real algorithmic reason. However, if you do find issues or want to get some insight into its approach, some models offer a show thinking feature or a thinking trace. Now, Mollick knows this is not always 100% accurate. You're actually getting a summary of the thinking, not the raw computation. But he says it's a good place to start for trying to understand the AI's internal processing and how it might have arrived at a particular answer. It's like seeing a simplified blueprint of its computational steps rather than the architect's full creative thought process.
These are truly critical guardrails, aren't they, for responsible and effective AI use? It's about understanding what AI is and isn't capable of and how to interact with it intelligently to mitigate its inherent limitations rather than being constantly caught off guard. It's about managing expectations and developing a more sophisticated user mindset. So, with all this incredible insight from Ethan Mollick, from choosing the right system and model, understanding advanced features, prompting effectively, avoiding common pitfalls, what's the ultimate action plan? How does our listener become a genuine AI power user? What should they do today?
Mollick distills it all down into a very clear, very actionable three-step plan. It's designed to get you immediately applying these insights to your actual real work, not just playing around. First, and this is foundational, a point he reiterates forcefully: pick a system and commit. And part of that commitment is resign yourself to paying the $20. As he says, the free versions are demos, not tools.
Step 1, commit and pay.
Yep. He argues it's not an optional upgrade for power users, it's basically a prerequisite. Without access to the most capable models unlocked by that subscription, the rest of the advice, while insightful, simply won't yield the same transformative results. It's the cost of entry for genuine utility in a professional context.
Okay, done. What's step 2?
Second, once you've committed to a system and that $20 subscription is active, immediately test 3 specific things on real work. This isn't about theoretical exercises or abstract problems. It's about applying the AI directly to your actual current challenges to see its immediate value. The first test is to tackle a complex challenge using a powerful model. This means explicitly you need to switch to the powerful model. Remember that crucial drop-down selector we talked about?
Don't forget the switch.
Exactly. Then give it a complex challenge from your actual job with full context. Provide all the necessary documents, background info, specific requirements. Then engage in that interactive back and forth discussion. Push the AI, ask it to elaborate, challenge its initial responses. And finally, ask it for a specific output, like a detailed document, a working program, or a complex diagram. And then critically, ask for changes until you get a result you're happy with. This iterative refinement process is key to getting high-quality, tailored results for your specific needs. It's where the magic of collaborating with the AI truly happens.
Okay, complex challenge, powerful model, iterate. What's the second test?
The second test is to try deep research on a comprehensive question. Pick a question where you genuinely need exhaustive, well-structured information, something you'd normally spend hours, maybe days, researching manually. This could be something like doing competitive analysis for your business, or generating those detailed gift ideas for someone specific we discussed earlier, or maybe a technical deep dive into a complex subject matter relevant to your field. The goal here is to leverage the AI's ability to synthesize vast amounts of information from the live web into a coherent, cited report, saving you immense time and giving you a really solid, comprehensive starting point for your own work.
Got it. Deep research on something real. And the third test?
And the third test. Experiment with voice mode and its visual capabilities. Specifically, do this while doing something else: cooking, walking, commuting. Don't just ask it simple questions like, what's the weather? See how using voice mode changes your ability to think through problems when your hands or eyes are otherwise occupied. But more importantly, actively try that multimodal visual input. Point your phone camera at a physical problem you're facing, a diagram you need help understanding, or just something in your environment you're curious about, and see how the AI responds visually. Try troubleshooting something physical in real time using the camera feed. This isn't just about convenience, it's about experiencing a fundamentally new way to interact with information and solve problems that span both the digital and physical worlds.
That's such a practical, hands-on action plan. Pick a system, pay the fee, then immediately test the powerful model on a real challenge. Try deep research for comprehensive info, and experiment with voice and visual input while multitasking. It truly highlights Mollick's core insight. Most people use AI like Google at first. Quick questions, no context, default settings. And now you, our listener, you know better. You have the roadmap to unlock its true power. So what does this all mean for you in practice? It means you're equipped now to move way beyond those demo versions and casual chats. You now know to thoughtfully select the right system. And crucially, the right model within that system for the task at hand. You know to provide the AI with rich context, like documents to analyze. You know to ask for exhaustive options and lots of ideas, to use branching to explore different conversational alternatives, and to experiment with all the diverse outputs it can create from code to creative visuals. The distinction, as Mollick really concludes, between casual users and true power users isn't primarily about some arcane prompt mastery, though that will certainly come with experience. It's fundamentally about knowing these features exist and using them on real work. It's about intentional, applied knowledge that translates directly into enhanced productivity and better problem solving.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, maybe a final thought for you to consider, how might mastering these power user features, specifically that multimodal interaction that lets AI literally see your world, or the deep research capability that synthesizes complex information, or the ability to generate diverse outputs like code, analysis, and videos, how might mastering those fundamentally change the nature of your work or your problem-solving process in, say, the next 6 months? Beyond just making existing tasks faster, what entirely new possibilities open up? What new kinds of problems can you tackle when you truly start treating AI as a collaborative partner, a proactive assistant, rather than just a more sophisticated search engine?
That's a fantastic question to leave everyone with. The potential for transformation is immense, and it's really right there for you to explore and integrate into your daily professional life. We've covered a huge amount of practical knowledge today, thanks to Ethan Mollick's guide and Dr. Mahievsky for sending it our way. Hopefully this gives you a clear roadmap to becoming a true AI power user. Go forth, experiment boldly, and apply these strategies to your own tasks. We thank you so much for joining us on another deep dive, and we look forward to having you back for more discovery and mastery very soon.